evening. 'Tis a pleasure to return to my home, this stage. I prithee, will you answer? Have I ever left? You see, all the world's a stage, and it hath been quite some time since I placed my foot on the very boards of the Globe Theatre. I was joyful when I was asked to perform a solitary act for thee on this date, the 1st of March, 1602. The most thou knowest of me is through my work, and 'tis hard to be a bard, playwright, father, and husband. In my lifetime, all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. I play many parts, and 'tis time I reveal the one I play most often, though 'tis not to be done without some wine, for one cannot speak of love without alcohol. I'm often asked about my loves, and to that I respond, oh, simple it seems to answer, but I remain mysterious to thee for a reason. I must admit that my wife, Anne Hathaway, doth not know of my performance on this night. The best way to know me is not by means of marriage, but through my poems and plays. Of course, Romeo and Juliet are star-crossed lovers. Love and death go hand in hand, for the heaviness of one's heart can cause thee to perish. Romeo and Juliet is perhaps my play that thou art most familiar with. Two young lovers brought together by fate and forced away from this world by love. Love is strong. Love is so strong that it can cause jealousy, as Othello found when he was driven to murder his wife that he loved dearly. But just as love can go with death, it can give one life. I often find myself lost in my love. For someone to discover it would be dishonorable. All of my plays and my work contain my thoughts, for I fear that love is slowly killing me. I do not control the love that controls my passion. My plots and writing seem complicated, but so is love, my friend. Do not read too deeply into these lines. I am a simple man. Thou wilt return a blind eye to my poetry, but although it does not have a theatrical component, it is very close to me. With a piece of paper and ink, I can write of my fair youth, a man, and express whatever I please. I am not afraid to write, for paper can be burned. I can create an entire story or document all of my emotions and make them disappear in seconds. If only love could burn until only ashes remain. I stand here before you to say that I am real. I feel just like you, and although my name is William Shakespeare, I play the part of a simple man. I shall end this brief interaction with a sonnet. Perhaps I shall publish it one day. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the dawning buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou holdest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal knives to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life.
Okay, you know Maury, ever since my husband Walter asked me to marry him and be fully devoted to him, never questioning his wishes and following him with a happy smile, he's been such an ass. He simply wrote my daughter and my son, and what did I have to do? Smile. Just kept smiling and say, yes, Walter, I love you, Walter. I'm fed up with all this, and now he comes home and tells me he wants a divorce? He's leaving me for a newer bottle? It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's not the last of it. He had the nerve to ask me to come on your show and help plan his new wedding. Can you believe that? But that's also how we ended up here on your show. It's not bad enough he has to embarrass me, but he has to do it publicly on TV because he's too much of a coward to do it from the privacy of our own home. Wait, what did you say? She's here? The other woman? I thought the wedding wasn't for another month and I would have enough time to find an excuse not to help. What do you mean, what do I think of your new bride, Walter? I mean, she's definitely beautiful, but not as strong as the woman you're leaving. I hope you don't do to her what you've done to me. It takes a special woman to put up with this kind of behavior. Wait, you're sorry? It's not what I think it is? What do you mean it's not what I think? Oh my goodness. I am the mother, and for all these years, Walter's just been testing my promise? Does that mean I can take my children and go home now? Good. Let's go, Walter. Let's go, kids.
So what does it mean to be a good woman? According to society, a woman must hide her sexuality, a woman must obey her husband, a woman must hide herself in the home, just another piece in her husband's house, rather than get out there and explore life. A woman must, lament for the sinfulness of love, and it's often inopportune circumstances. How many perfect beings can you name? What makes them perfect? How many women contradicting these ideals have become prominent figures of everyday life? It is because we're never asked if we want any of this, instead having this thrust upon us, that we women are tempted to stray so quickly and easily from this marriage ideal. If the roles were reversed and these restraints were placed upon men, would marriage be as sacred? It would certainly be more enjoyable for all of us watching our men live in the sorrowful and suffering state of marriage. Perhaps it could be a better marriage ideal. In light of International Women's Day, we wives are faced with the one thing we wish above all else that still eluded us. What, you may ask, am I speaking of? Any man may tell you women want riches or happiness, or nice clothing, or better nighttime activities, or to get rid of their husband. Ask a woman, however, and she'll tell you that our one true wish is independence in our marriage, our love, and our sexuality. It's then a testament to a good and noble man if he gives his wife choice and freedom, and will reward himself knowing she's happy with this independence. Regardless of what others are doing, make this change for yourself, and they may or may not follow. Don't pressure your wives with tales of Eve or Delilah. Use your time instead to learn the Gawains of history in order to treat your Queen Ragnar as she deserves. Others may judge you or not, but don't worry yourself by letting the ideals and judgments of others command your actions. It's how you behave, not your place, that encompasses your true virtue, and therefore your true decency. I leave you with the wish that women may one day understand what it is to have power, and that women will have the opportunity to live life to its fullest, using their time to bathe in the pleasures of Venus, and that this may never end, regardless of age or condition. I hope that women may have the opportunity to write our own history and future, bringing forth the truths of our sex, unobstructed by the views of men, and that our bodies may be ours to do with as we please. And finally, I hope we fully understand what it is to have free agency within our lives.
By my word, the greatest sin in this world is greed. Avarice is the root of all evil, I say to the crowds. And if you ever heard my sharp silver tongue, you too would be convinced that the deepest of all mortal sins comes from one's personal greed. But to get ahead in this life, do you think I practice what I preach? Oh, you'd be a fool to be swindled into living like the apostles. For I for one, condemn that kind of life. To choose voluntary poverty? Bah, let the plague have me. Bring me ale, meat, cheese, wine, women, and I'll save the eternal souls of 1,000 laymen for a pretty penny. I'd say my outstanding education is giving me tools to practice my trade. Sprinkle some Latin into my gaudy sermons, and the crowd will eat it up. They don't know a lick of it, but it works like a charm. Like a siren, my booming voice captures the fool, the commoner, the poor scoundrel who dares to stop and listen to all I have to offer. Now, I am a man of the clergy by and by, but it doesn't stop me from living my life in splendor. Graced with authority from our holy Pope, I am fully authorized, mind you, to sell pardons for your lowly souls. I carry with me special items which might excite your interest. From far and wide, I have traveled in search of divine relics. With me, I always carry my Veronica, my medal of the highest honor of having traveled to St. Peter's in Rome. You see the very image of Christ pressed upon my cap, just as it has been pressed into Veronica's own handkerchief. In my bag of precious items, I reveal to you, sorry, I don't have a bag, my corporal crown, some of the rarest, most holiest of all objects, the veil of Our Lady, the sail of St. Peter himself, and the sacred bones of a revered apostle. This veil here, touch its silky fabric, is a treasure to behold. Look at this piece of sail. It would bring you luck on your travels, be it by land or sea. Have you noticed the bones in this jar I hold? Come and look at the remains of the divine. Just being in the presence of these objects gives me power. Just holding one of these items for a moment will cure you of any ailment. Do you know what it is to touch the divine? To hold in your hands the very veil and touch the holy anointed head of our Virgin Mother? Are you a pious lot or not? We live in mortal sin day by day, living in squalor and filth. Well, not me. Don't you need relief? I can grant you respite from pain and suffering. I can ensure your afterlife will not be spent in as much despair as your waking life. I can give you wholeness, assurance, faith. But first it will cost you. Let go of your avarice, the greed within yourself, and give it all to me, so that I may help you enter the gates of heaven. This is how I've made my lot, not begging, nor weaving, nor heaving heavy stones, I do not work with my hands. I'm an artist with a tongue, a salesman of the afterlife. I'll promise you many a thing, but the only one who profits from our exchange is me. I do find pleasure in this work, mind you. It's kept me very comfortable. I make more money in a day than a person does in a month. And if you ask me, money is the root of success. Although I promise these fools safety and sanctuary, I really don't give a damn whether they die or not. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I reck never when then they've been buried, though that their souls go no blackberried. And luck to the brave soul who tries to stop me. For him I will conjure such a wrath of curses, a tempest of slander, that he will never be able to return to his home or family. My brethren and I are untouchable. We can exist in the service of our Lord, but to mine own service I must also regard. So listen to the tales of Spun and keep me well fed, for the pleasures of this mortal world will be mine.
Let it be known by everyone who will read this that my name is Marie. I am from France, and I wrote what you are about to read. Yes, I'm copywriting my own work by putting my name in it. I'm not taking chances. There are so many men out there who will no doubt try to say that they wrote this, or that they came up with all of my ideas. Don't believe them. Again, my name is Marie, and I wrote this. I'm just making sure that everyone knows that I, Marie, wrote this. I'm not one to squander my talents, so I'm going to tell you a couple of my most famous stories and elaborate on the magical elements. In Guigamar, the titular hero, once wounded, can only be healed by true love. He boards a ship that takes him where he needs to go, to his true love. How does this boat get him there? Magic. There doesn't have to be a formula to magic. If you say it exists, then it just exists. Simple as that. And I, Marie, say it exists. How is it that Guigamar shows up at the tournament to claim his love, even if he can't remember her face? Magic. It works because I say so. Don't question it. Never question when something magical happens, not in life or in literature. This club rat is the first known werewolf story. That's right, I wrote the first recorded story about werewolves. Did I create a complex, concrete werewolf mythology that will set their magical properties in stone for centuries of stories to come? Of course not. Why would I ever want to do that? It's magic. It can work any way that you want. Will countless authors fight over the correct ways to write about werewolves with every new story about them? Of course. But again, magic. It's not supposed to work. It can work however you want it to work. Even in the 12th century, it doesn't make sense for children to be born without noses because their mother got her nose torn off. But magic doesn't have to make sense. So I guess you want to know about the secret formula to the way I write. Marie, how do you come up with your ideas? How can your style be so informal, but still beautiful poetry? I can't answer your questions, because it's like I've been saying, magic doesn't have a secret formula. Neither does love or writing, for that matter. But love, for one thing, always ends in suffering. There is no love without suffering, whether it comes from a good suffering or a bad one. Writing is like magic, but work has to be put into it, especially when men always try to claim pieces written by women. But magic can just exist without rationale behind it. There is no reason why any of the magical twists in my fables should make sense, but that doesn't matter. It's magic, not love, that conquers all. I hope that you have enjoyed this little background reflection that I have laid out for you. Please, you guys. Everybody's down. Feel free to listen to it and put it to music, but just remember that I, Marie from France, wrote this myself.
I woke up this morning with a bump on my head and I can't seem to remember what happened. The pilgrims left me to rot in this pub overnight, reeking of alcohol with a black eye and bloody coat. My bagpipes are broken in half and the door to the bar is torn off its hinges. I'm sure some of the damage was my doing, but I certainly did not give myself this black eye. I think Oswald agrees had something to do with it. He's such a fool being offended by a simple tale. Perhaps he has reason to be so self-conscious in his own marriage, but I can assure him that I do not have the hours in my day to make up a tale simply to spite a man I hardly know. How stupid of him to think he could offend me with a tail. Perhaps he realized he had not angered me and took it out of my eye. But of course, I am strong and large, and he is a scrawny coward. He may despise me the most on this pilgrimage, but I doubt he attacked me. Regardless of who attacked me, I cannot figure out why I was left alone in this pub. The pilgrims are all gone, and they left me with a hefty tab to pay. I understand that the monk and reeve left. They are far from noble and exceptionally boring and humorless, but the parson and clerk had to leave for the night, so much for nobility. I'm sure the saintly bunch did not give it a second thought. Perhaps if I could recall certain instances from the night, I could properly remember who attacked me and figure out why I was left alone and left to pay their expenses. I remembered Allison, the wet bath, not leaving me alone. She and I had a nice conversation, although she came on a little strong, and I am happily married. She has a nasty temper, but was never angry with me. Plus, she and I have a lot in common, so I was sure it was not Allison who attacked me. I remembered next to Franklin, getting very upset with Prioress, who stole his food to feed her dogs. I don't think I intervened in that, as I like to mind my own business, and besides, there's a plague. I'm much more concerned about getting that than a gluttonous fool getting his food stolen by none of her dogs. Perhaps they should be too. I remember a fuzzy conversation with the clerk, although he and I got along quite well. He admired my tale, and he, unlike the reeve, was not offended by my portrayal of students. I suppose at this point it is a lost cause. I'll never figure it out, but I should at least be a gentleman and pay the tab. I seem to have destroyed their pub and spent a lot of money. And the least I can do is repay their owner for my troubles. I'm a misunderstood man. I mean no harm, I just like to have fun, and apparently some are much more malicious in their intentions than mine. My tale was harmless, unlike some of the nasty tales I have heard so far, like the reeve and the clerks. So I will have a drink, and then I will catch up with the other pilgrims. Maybe I can bribe one of them into telling me what happened. If any of you fine people have recollection of what happened, or know what pilgrim left me for dead and can really lead me in the right direction, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'm a cock. Why not, sir? How dare your mind turn to filth? I mean not what you falsely think. I am a cock, a rooster, a fine rooster at that. Look how my feathers shine as I strut across the yard. Are you jealous of my comb? Such a beautiful red, redder than fine coral, I'd say. And see, it's not your battlements. Perhaps it is my own castle, wall upon my head, or maybe a crown granted me by God. There is a widow and her 2 daughters who live near the yard. They are my owners. Yes, she may have 3 sows, 3 cows, and a sheep named Mao, but I am her pride. They are lucky to have me, after all, for I am a happy cock with a lovely voice. My voice is merrier than the merry organ on a Sunday. Of course, there are 7 hens I govern over, too. Now, perhaps that filth in your mind is not entirely unwarranted. I admit I take my pleasures. How can I not when each is as wonderful in their colors as me? But only one holds my heart, Demoiselle Perlotte. She is the fairest of the flock, curious, discreet, gracious, and companionable. Oh, how I've loved her since she was 7 nights old. I cannot recall how I lived 6 nights ignorant of her existence. Let it be known, if this yard is my castle, I, its king, Perlotte is my cherished queen. Foolish to think woman is the ruin of man. Ha, I say. I declare woman is the man's joy and all his bliss. What man can be in ruin with a woman who keeps his bed warm and smile on his face? We had sex 6 times before 6 a.m. struck. And the sun cried my sweet song to announce arrival. But that wasn't the only thing rhyming in the morning. Everyone should be as merry as me. I've heard a priest was once compared to me, a nun's priest to be exact. He was described to me as a less glamorous rooster surrounded by religious hens. If we are similar, how dreadful it must be to resist the temptation and not enjoy the experience of being an excellent confluatory of fowls. Blessed be thy buttocks in every testicle. May he find his life to be merry as he spreads happiness to everyone. May make us all good men and bring us to his high bliss. Amen.
So here we go. You know, the day is coming where I'm going to have to retire. I've worked my fingers to the bone for this firm, and we've been able to thrive. But now, I'm getting older, and I'm ready to pass the mantle. But check this out. The only 2 sons I have, Paolo and Archie, they're brilliant. They both excelled all throughout school and were well on their way to becoming great lawyers and following in my footsteps. They were born as fraternal twins. Paolo has his mother's hair, while Archie inherited mine. Paolo has long, dirty blonde hair that keeps in a bun. It's pretty lame, but whatever. It's 2017. Archie, on the other hand, has short brown hair and looks a little like Johnny Depp. In retrospect, they're both very handsome young men who I always believed to be the best of friends. Until now. I find out that they haven't spoken to each other in months. Can you believe it? And you know what? Over what? They're both in love with the same bartender at the local pub. Some pretty young thing named Emily with a useful cheer and nice behind. The words of Archie, not me, ladies. Anyway, the thing that kills me is that neither of them have made a damn move. Not even one. They just go there, sit on opposite sides of the bar, and are quiet, awkward dorks. So get this. They decide the only way to settle this is to have a duel in the park. They came up with these dumb rules. They both get a week to gather and prepare 5 of their friends to have an all-out brawl for the love of Emily. She doesn't even know about this. I can't make this stuff up, people. Anyway, so all 12 of these idiots show up on the day of the fight. The kicker is that both Paolo and Archie invited Emily to the park. And she said yes. She didn't know, however, that they were going to fight. So boom! A fight breaks out and both Paolo and Archie get some good hits on each other. They beat the crap out of each other before Emily was finally able to step in. She gets the boys apart and tells them to stop. Next thing you know, the cops show up and arrest everyone. My brilliant effing boys both spent the next few days in jail and missed their interviews for the open positions at the firm. Now there's no way they'll get jobs, and my reputation, the reputation of Jonathan S. Knight, will be ruined. The best damn lawyer in the realm, reduced to shreds.
Dana, it's your turn, and Dana needs the word.
I run a very successful car dealership in South Jersey. I'm the best car merchant in town, I swear. I have it on a bumper sticker too. I might have an extra one lying around here somewhere. You might want one. People love me because I tell it like it is. Plus, I always come to work looking sharp. I have an Italian suit and my shiny leather shoes are great. If you don't look nice, why would someone ever want to buy a car from you? These are words to live by. I have an almost perfect life, right? But I have one big problem. Well, 2, if you count my wife. I have a bit of an issue with gambling. I love it. The thrill of it is exhilarating. But the issue is that I'm not really lucky, so that's good. I have a tendency to lose a lot of money. So I'm in a bit of debt. But this secret stays between us, okay? So I'm not going to tell anyone. But honest to God, I hate my wife. She is a horrible, true woman. Goddamn devil incarnate. That's what she is. Men, listen to me very carefully. Never get married. Like I repeat, never get married. Bachelorhood, amazing. Why did I ever want to give that up? I don't know. A man has independence, and he doesn't have to deal with a nagging wife. Like married men, you feel me, right? We married men live in a constant state of depression. Admittedly, we have only been married for 2 months, but it's been the worst 2 months of my life. All she does is talk all day long. Like, I miss the peace and quiet of bachelorhood. For what? The prospect of having an heir? Like, someone to carry on the family name? Someone to leave all my riches to you? The good that's worth. I heard about this old guy named Jack. He married this really hot young girl, Marie. It was a January-May wedding. Catch my drift. The man became blind. His young little wife started having affairs with a young guy. And he couldn't see through all her lies. That's what women do. They talk and they talk and talk, and everything just comes out of their mouth a lie. But if you see my wife, like, seriously, don't tell her I said any of this. It's hard enough to deal with her as it is. And don't tell her about the gambling problem. Don't tell her.
Are we women such bad people? If so, why did God create us? If we women are so vile like snakes, why bring us to this world? Is there not more to us? If so, why do men speak such things about us? I have never encountered one good thing about us in any book I read. My good mother says women are valued highly for their virtuous characters. But does virtue mean so little to those who believe otherwise? They write such terrible things about women. They do. Lord God, why was I born a woman? Why did you not make me a man? Am I to be confined to an unfortunate life of limits? For if I was a man, I would serve you better, if only your kindness had been further extended to me. Oh, who are these women standing in such bright light? They call me daughter, and they tell me I should not let men tell me what a woman is. Their clothes do not make me me, obviously. There is more to women, they say, than simply what I have been told. Are there not women who have been queens of this world, like Clotilda and Esther? Just so you know, I don't know who these people are. Queen Hippolyta was famed for her prowess as a warrior after all. And what of the poet Sappho, whose poems about love we still read today? And do not forget the goddesses Isis,
Yes, no. Isis, the goddess Isis is very old.
And Minerva, crafters of nature and steel. I also hear they're war gods.
Isis was the mother goddess of everything.
Are they not famed and valued so for their bravery and war? Though being goddesses, you have to really, I am as strong as they are, and perhaps better, for I have been chosen and am destined to build a city for women, a city like ancient Troy. Lady Reason promises she will help. Lady Rectitude, the shield and defense of God, offers me strength and support. And Lady Justice, the unbendable judge, will give me the keys. The three ladies stand behind me, offering me strength. I am humbled by their presence, and I stand with them as my sisters. Come, my ladies, let us show those men just how virtuous we are. They accuse us of such vices, we will prove them wrong. Together, we will build a city that dispels the untruth about women and champions their strength. A city that the Amazons, the brave warrior Amazons, that the Amazons would be proud of. One meant for women worthy of fame and praise, barring those that are not virtuous. It'll be a city stronger than Troy, the city of ladies. Let's just hope this lasts longer than Troy.
Yes. Well done.
Guys, can I vent for a minute? I only have a minute before my econ final and I have to tell you about this. So, first of all, my dad stopped putting money into my meal plan, which is fine, I get it, I guess. Anyway, that meant I had to go to that big party with Steve, you know, that one brother from Delta Sigma Nu. Just to get a meal. Well, that was a straight up disaster. The sorority girls showed up and trashed the place, which I can't say I blame them for. I would have helped if I wasn't too busy grabbing a burrito and getting the hell out of there. At that point, it was the next morning. Not having slept, I was just looking for a place to write my American Lit final, which is like 40% of my final grade. So I took an Uber back to campus to go to the library, but I got hungry again. And still not having any funds for food, I had to make another desperate move. I spoke to other people. I don't know why, but this one guy offered to buy me lunch and was all like, you can come over to my apartment later. I really just wanted to eat and go write my final, but I went with it. Anyway, we ended up back at his apartment later, and I still really needed to write my final, but he wasn't having it. So I made my escape while he was in the bathroom. I went to call an Uber again, and that was when I realized that his English bulldog puppy followed me out the door like I was his mom or something. I couldn't just leave him there, so I took him in the Uber with me, which the driver was none too happy about, but that's another story entirely. I needed to give the puppy a name because I didn't really know his real one, so he's called Morris now. By the time Morris and I got back to my apartment, I had just enough time to finish my American Lit final and cram for my econ exam before bed. I did get to sleep that night. I know I need to return Morris to his real owner, so I'm going to have to see that guy again. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, or the day after. I kind of want to keep him around until after finals. He's a good stress reliever.
We were placed on this earth for one another, men and women, as partners, as equals. Yet the latter is rejected, we are slandered and exploited. I know that our minds are as rich as our hearts are full of love for the very same men who neglect our education and take our passion for granted. Our true value goes unrecognized while they bask in the glory of their accomplishments. This is not to say that each attribute that man possesses holds the same strength for a woman's hands. Rather, the two are complementary. Where they are weak, we are extra strong. What we are lacking, they provide. But the factor that remains ignored in this equation is the woman's piece in the completion of the puzzle. Our contributions are essential, irreplaceable. Women are so often accused of disloyalty, though it is the wife who will stick firm to her husband's side despite his infidelity. Men are discouraged from marriage. They're told that an honest, worthy woman is rare, but never will they face the hardships that the wife of a wicked man will endure. She will bear the heartache, betrayal, the mental and physical abuse. The wife will get the short end of the stick, and she'll be forced to make it work regardless. There are those few women who refuse to allow this fate, those who resist physical love in marriage. This type of independence is brave and unorthodox. It's quite admirable for a woman to stand alone without a man in a world that's dominated by men.
The scene is Castellosa's bedroom. It's evening. Castellosa sits cross-legged on her bed in sweatpants, typing furiously into her phone for a few moments before standing up suddenly and throwing the phone on the bed. She wraps her blanket around her shoulders and begins to pace around the room. I do not deserve this. I absolutely do not deserve this. Mean. He's just mean. What a selfish, entitled son of a... Stupid. It's stupid. I do not need this. I absolutely do not. Castellosa walks over to a full-length mirror in the corner of the room. The mirror is adorned around the edges with pictures of her and her friends, award ribbons, certificates of achievement, and other mementos. Castellosa stands tall in front of it, her arms firmly at her sides, her chin up as she eyes herself up and down. I'm smart. Really smart. I am honest and nice and generally good. I am lovable and willing to love others. I'm good at liking people. I am nice to the people that I like and to the people that I don't like. I don't cheat on tests, in games, on people, and I am not the jealous type. I can hold a conversation. People don't feel awkward when they try to talk to me, and I have interesting and important things to say. I am interesting and I am important. I'm confident but not scary. I'm unafraid to speak my mind, and I'm ambitious. I go after what I want when I want it, usually. I don't conform to societal standards of femininity, and I call out injustices when I see fit. I have no moral problem in making the first move. I can make the first move. I don't get too hung up, though. I don't let men occupy my mind at all times. Absolutely not. I am a person with autonomy and my own thoughts and feelings. I am not losing it over a guy. I simply am not. Castellosa continues to look at herself in the mirror and begins nervously to comb through her hair with her fingers. But I'm still allowed to care. I have the right to be upset because I'm a person and I'm allowed to feel sad. I deserve happiness and respect, but also I'm allowed to entertain the feeling that literally nothing matters but this and that everything else is meaningless because I put myself out there and got almost nothing back. I will not let him manipulate me like this because he doesn't care about me, so I'm essentially just manipulating myself and sending myself into a downward spiral of utter despair, but it's okay because I actually love him, so it's justified. I could literally die standing right here. That's how strongly I feel, but I won't because, again, I am beautiful and smart, and I do not need to fill the space of my life with mean jerks who can't remember my name after 2 days. And I will not subtweet about him, I swear. I won't post anything at all. I know talking about him publicly will make him like me less, and while I shouldn't care about him liking me less because I'm over him and he doesn't deserve me, so I should just write a ton of Facebook statuses warning other women to steer clear. I swear to God, if I don't do well on exams, it's his fault. He's clouding my head, and I'll make sure he feels extra guilty when I don't get into Brown University. Castellosa takes a few quick breaths before placing both of her hands on her mirror and hanging her head. What am I doing? This guy can do nothing for me. Why am I wasting my time and energy and brain power on this? Oh yeah, because he's actually really sweet and nice and smart and just the right height in relation to my height. But he's over. He offers me nothing. Nothing. Castellosa takes some more breaths before wiping the sweat from her forehead. She walks to her bed and picks up her phone. We see her phone screen as she types a message to the group called Girlfriends. Her message reads, "Hang tonight, need to get some stuff off my mind. Absolutely no boyfriends allowed. Fade to black."
And I like traveling, but I have to continue my job just to write poetry. And I want to reflect people in society and the time by my poetry. And in my early time, I was travel to France. I translated French poetry to English. And after that, the Book of Duchess was born. And this is my early work, which said, this is so strange a dream that I will, in process of time, strive to put this dream in rhyme as best I can. And then forsworn, this is my dream, now it's done. Achieving dream is hard, but we still should be continue to close our dream. And in the second stage, I was traveling to Italy, and the Florence was the first place the Renaissance started, and there are many Italian poets like Dante and Francisco writing some poetry against the old religions. After that, I also created my poetry, the Parliament of Fools, which is about the birds can get together singing, and they have a meeting, and they are free. But we can't, as the people, we can't like a birds. We don't have the freedom. Why? Because the stupid of the religions. And finally, the last stage of my life, I created my most famous works, the Canterbury Tale. First, I show a wide social picture with many people come from all classes of social, like knights, monks, academics, lawyers, business, craftsmen, farmers, milliners, and so on. Secondly, this work combines many medieval literary, theory, lights, science, and so on. Thirdly, the character and the story are interesting, full, and a sense of humor. Finally, I just depict people's characters, and each story tells people a fun, horror, interesting of the experience. And I really hope we can develop humanizing as soon as possible, because I think the important thing is humanism. We just can get the free, balance, and good life. I never imagined that I could be called father of English literature. I just poet. I just write something I want. Thank you.
People tell me I should not double text you, but those who live by that rule are foolish. When you do not respond to my text messages, I cannot bear to move on with my day. I reach out to you again and again and get no answer. You must know my love for you, or am I one of many women on the other end of your phone conversations? Regardless, my heart still yearns for you, and I will continue to wait for your reply. No one else makes me feel the way that you do. I'd choose text from you over meeting up with other suitors anytime. But why do I long for your answer? If you don't plan to continue our conversation, please tell me now before I die. Dying of starvation, hungry for your words on my screen. Send.
I suppose love is not my thing anymore. My wife does not believe me anymore. She thinks that I lie all the time. My life is incomplete without her love. She made some mistakes along the way, so I left her. But before anything else happened, I found a new love, Elizabeth. She has the same name as my ex-wife. Destiny did not want me to be with her. Sadly, we had a son, an illegitimate son, Francis. Stupidly enough, I got close to someone else's love, a very powerful someone, the king's lover, an addictive love that causes me trouble. I tried to steal that love, the king's love, his mistress, and blame. I went to jail for adultery. My life was an accident. I saw my lover die, not in front of my eyes, but close enough to feel her pain. Oh, my lover, she died. She lied to me. She had more than one affair with several guys. I was shocked. I never thought she would have cheated on me. I started writing about loneliness, love, and suddenly the motivation came. I found inspiration. No, not to my lover. It was from reading another poet's work. Someone who wrote poems somewhat different, known as Petrarch. I decided to copy his work, well, translate his work. I brought his sonnet to English, translated them into English. People were so amazed at my work that they called me a god, the father of the English sonnet.
Very nice. Have you ever felt trapped, helpless, miserable, and even unable to move? I can't tell how much time I spent here, thanks to this rule to now. Every second lasts forever, minutes turn into hours and become days. The total awakening of my inevitable end is all that's left to me. I lie on the cold stone floor of Tower Farm. I can hear the muffled sound of the town, the hollow of careful people. This bloodthirsty crowd waits to see the suffering of others. I can see them from a small window in the corner of my dungeon. For justification, they come together on the square in giant show. Sometimes I can distinguish their faces, full of delight and expectancy. For me, it evokes pain and disgust. Their faces makes me fear. I do not want them to be the last thing I see in this world. Sometimes I can hear a guard passing by the door. The monotonous sound of their footsteps soothes and frightens at the same time. What if they are coming for me? What if I will be next? But I'm still alive. Am I? I'm starting to think that there is nothing left to bleed. Bitter constant horror has numbed all my other feelings. But I will never forget what I saw. This incredible woman is gone. She was disfavored by the king. He could not get rid of his wife legally, so he found an alternative solution. He charged his own wife with adultery and incest that resulted in the execution of her and 4 other men. The king's whim caused the deaths of innocent people because no one could prove their innocence to him. He does not need any proof. I think his supporters can make it all up by torturing and stealing the victims. I saw them all dying. Some of them were frightened, others were humbled. But Jesus stood out the most. It seems like she was ready to die. After a long period of suffering, she found her rescue in death. She didn't deserve it. None of them did. I've known her for a while. She was so bright, sincere, full of life. She laughed a lot. It was impossible not to fall in love with her. Her beauty was outstanding. She was the true queen. I'll keep the memory of the sound of her voice and the depth of her eyes till my last breath. Anger at the injustice of this world, and thoughts of her, I only think keeping me from madness.